Let's start shooting.
We are rolling, yes.
We're rolling good. Okay, good. Because this is like, we have to talk about this whole thing. Like, now, I was so fortunate to, first of all, get Taxi, which is like, started my career out in 1978 or 9. Jim Brooks, the creator of Taxi, was sitting right here with me, my good friend, my dear friend. How did I know that during that show, I was going to somehow tap into this guy so that when I wanted to direct a movie that he had, The War of the Roses, he would see it clear that I should be part of it. And that also, it's the way things happen in your life, that also was one of the shining moments of my career, to work with you on The War of the Roses. It was a treat, and I can't wait to look at the movie with you, and I'm really excited about it.
I go in thinking there's strange love in this movie for mainstream dark comedies that just went against everything. Do you remember the copy line? I brought that's the one thing I brought.
The copy line.
The copy line on the poster?
Say
once in a lifetime comes a motion picture that makes you feel like falling in love all over again. This is not that movie. The world's funniest copy line. And I think that's Michael Leeson's line, too. I think
Michael Leeson, who wrote the screenplay. That's the other thing about coming from television background with the writing aspect of it. And with the directing. It's like, and the actors, too. It's a collaboration that you have to understand that, one person doesn't make a movie. One person doesn't do a television show. It's a collaboration of the artists. When it gets spread out to the point where a million studio executives think they know how to do it, then it gets really crappy. But since I know that I had Jim on my side, there was nobody going to tamper with my vision, only support it. And so, having said that, you want to start? Yeah. Let's look at the movie.
You actually made it fun. You actually made the pressure of a movie fun, man. This is the most fun I've ever had working. I mean, I think, well, Taxi in there. I
feel like it, yeah. This was your idea for Saul Bass to do the credits, which was a brilliant
man, I love
idea.
God rest it. Yeah. He did Man with the Golden Arm and things like, he did some of the great legendary posters, and he designed airplanes, and
everything. The guy was like all over it.
By the way, I love the font. Polly Platt.
Platt, who was really instrumental in, the design of the movie, the putting together of the movie. She was just an invaluable, source. Yeah. Ida Random, who did the production design.
I love Ida, man.
The colors in the movie, all Modigliani.
This is going to be so hard because I haven't seen the movie in so long, and I'm sort of hanging on everything.
Right.
So.
Michael Leeson, of course.
Just great, man. Just it.
And all those credits are leading up to this joke. And, of course, we have
Dan Castellaneta.
Who
greatest performance not saying a word in a movie.
And everybody knows who
Everyman.
that is, right? He's the voice of
Homer
Simpson on The Simpsons.
Great Second City talent, great comedy actor.
The whole thing about it being a cautionary tale, all the things that were there in the screenplay, I responded to it so well. I felt like I was dying to do this movie. When time I
no one else alive could have done this tone the way it is.
A great device. I mean, to have this narrator. And I remember that we wrote stuff later, right? You wrote stuff, and you and Michael, and like as we went along, add a scene here, add a scene there, helped out.
It's one of those things. I don't know when that idea came in, but you couldn't make the movie without that idea. You had to have it, just to give you somebody to hold your hand as you went through a story like this.
My fee is $450 an hour. When a man who makes $450 an hour wants to tell you something for free, you should listen. You guys, see, the thing about lines like that, the $450 an hour line, it's like really great because you guys have all experienced these lawyer fees. I didn't know about how expensive lawyers were until I did this movie, and then I found out.
This is The Boy Meets Girl, right?
Right. This is where they They're in the auction.
And then, of course, they had this great history together with you, those
Yes.
two actors. I mean,
Yeah, this is the third movie we've done together. We did Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile. I remember when we were casting this, and we had all kinds of names and people, and we said, I'm going to send the script to Michael. Once we send it to him, if he likes it, we're in, right? We got to do it with him. And he called me up. He said, after he read it, he said, if you give this to anybody else, I'll kill you. And then, of course, there was no way I was going to get away from Kathleen. She would destroy me.
You know, it's great. It's when the casting seems inevitable. Even no matter what discussions you had, it seemed like nobody else should have done that. But this could be any romantic comedy. This could be adventure. This could be Romancing the Stone 3, and then it's going to take. Yeah. Then it's going to become what it is.
Right.
There's such story momentum going, man. We just started.
I remember this was like the first time I had ever done anything with people in bed, like doing it. I didn't want to overdo it, but I didn't want to underdo it.
Do you recall how we got into this? I remember I think I read the book, and the book had this basic situation. I don't remember. And then
I was not around for that part of it.
Yeah.
That was the very early days. You got Warren Adler's book. I remember how I got involved because I was with Michael, and I was going to lunch with him, and I found the script. This was my Orson Welles shot where we went up. We had the camera on two cranes, and we had Michael inside the building. And we go look through, and him and the kids.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get to do that unless you have support.
Jesus, man.
And that's like you guys. I felt like so free. I felt with you being the producer, and not that we were going to abuse anybody. It's just that we were going to be able to be free and do what we, with the impulses that we had. And
yeah, but you're also the most prepared guy in the world. Nobody had to bother us. It was
right.
like.
Yes, this is true.
By the way, the storytelling momentum here is what's getting me. That was a big problem because the existence of the kids in where the script goes could have tilted sympathies, made you worry. We spent so much time about how to figure out so the audience didn't worry about the kids. And
Right, because these two are doomed, and and they turn out to be great kids.
The ride we're on is so amazing. Yeah. By the way, this was an enormously successful movie. With the worst test screenings in the history of the world. People got scared. People fled.
I know.
They didn't leave. Some people fled.
Right. The terrazzo floor. I remember we designed the floor so that it would be like a bullseye for later.
Look at this, man. Dan, your work is so great.
Well, I tell you, it's
just
pleased.
Great. Just every damn cut.
Well, we shot this right here, right around the corner from where we are right this moment, right in this, on this lot. We built this house. The whole thing about building the foyer so it was huge, and all this was close together. She worked hard on the house. You got to watch the movie without us talking, too, because it's like a great movie. But, yeah, it was big, man. Everything about the house. Remember that burlwood table in the middle there?
Jesus,
oh, my God.
Jesus,
all the
man.
Staffordshire.
And it had to be. And it had to be.
It had to get the right stuff. It was like, there was no way to, duplicate it. It had to be right.
Look at the wardrobe, too, man.
Yeah.
Jesus. But Ida and Polly had a history together, too, and they're both sort of preeminent production designers.
Yes.
This is just, world-class work. What year was this movie?
It was 89, I think. 88,
because
89.
even their clothes aren't dated, let alone nothing else.
We also had the cat and the dog in the movie, remember? This is really cool. We had cat stuff. It's like a Disney movie here.
It's not like a Disney movie.
You get the cat running
It's not
away
like a
from the
Disney
dog.
movie. Oh, this is...
She doesn't like that little doggy, and she feeds the cat. And this is now, I guess this is kind of us leading the audience to take sides a little bit. But I don't, it's just their character. So, I look at this, anybody looks at this and they go, oh, this woman is she's not.
Well, you needed both because you had enough on him.
You had enough on him. He was very.
And the vote goes for the woman so quick.
Me and Michael working together, I love working with Michael. After he put me through all the things he put me through in Jewel of the Nile and
Well,
Romancing the
Cuckoo,
Stone.
guys go back
Cuckoo's
to Cuckoo's
Nest.
Nest.
That's
Yeah,
right.
when he produced that picture.
That's right. You know, and like Ben notoriously do several takes during filming, and so they really got into it. And of course, Michael was battered and bruised, which is always good. You know, like to beat up your actors while you're working with them. It's always a good
I
thing.
think it's remarkable for just taking it down that path where it starts getting a little rougher and rougher. And the story is relentless. I mean, it's just
goes.
You're never a second ahead of anything. It's just always going there. Did you rehearse, Dan? Did you rehearse performance? Because everybody is in the same game.
Right.
I mean, which is.
What we did was we read through everything, we talked through everything, and we didn't rehearse much. We did a lot of like on the set rehearsal.
But on the set, in what way?
Like for instance, we get everybody in. I would do a rehearsal with everybody, and then send everybody to makeup. We would light the set, do it all that way, and then when they came back, a lot of it's got to do with how I want I show off the house and how I want to photograph it. So I tell the actors, what you do is you have this arena to work in and you stay in that. And then they move wherever they want. And then I adjust them as I go along. And if it's impulse and they've got to move,
they're all threading the needle on real and funny. They're all just keeping it,
that's got a lot to do with the screenplay. I mean, and the choice of like angles and things, but basically the screenplay.
All I have and all I am, I owe to you.
You see her eyes? See when she moved to the right? There's a thing in the old days in the movies with women where they would deliver monologues and never move their head because the DP would kill them because they'd have finger light, you know.
No, you're kidding. That's why they used to marry their DPs.
Yeah, because they make them look so good. And Steve was like way into it too. So Stephen Burum, who shot the movie, was like brilliant.
All I am and all I have, I owe.
When I got the job to do the movie, I bought all these books on divorce because I had any idea about what it would be like and playing the lawyer and also directing the movie. And I had a pile of books in my hand, and I was at the checkout counter, and I was in line. And at the time, it was 89. I was already on Taxi, and I was well known in the community and around the world or whatever. And people were looking at me. And a woman finally came up and broke the ice, and she said, "Danny, I'm Mr. DeVito." Or something. You and Rhea? I said, "What do you mean?" So you got all the books about divorce in your... I said, no, everything's cool with Rhea. And it's true.
Oh, my God!
We shot this on the back lot.
This was a little problem. This
was big problems, right? We had to shoot this on the back lot.
Yeah, people were very nervous.
Oh, my God. We had it like... this is another thing. All this is leading into like the fact that I was so supported by having the Jim Brooks behind me on the, as the producer of the movie. We wanted to burn this thing on the back lot. No way. Nobody does this in it. You can't do this. What do you have to do? We had to build a vent. Right?
No, there were fire marshals all over the place, and then it was dicey.
We had to build a vent in the middle of the stage, which meant we had to break through the stage and put a shaft coming down to the top of our set so that nothing could burn up. Michael and I were tight, good friends. He really bent over backwards to help out. He had to go somewhere. And I was, I'm always chomping for like more shots. And it was a Friday night. I said, we're going to do this sauna scene, like where he's roasting later on. And so I said, I want to shoot this one scene of you on a slab. And I got to paint him red because he was supposed to be in the sauna. And he said to me, Danny, I got to go home. I said, why? I said, I need this one shot of you laying on the bed. He says, I'm going to be red all weekend. I'm going to a pool party.
Okay, this begins one of the major areas of discussion in the movie. I'm trying to remember, I think the book took a different path maybe than we did.
Yeah. I always felt like it wasn't going to I didn't want to kill the dog.
And I think the question was when we would relieve the tension of that. How long we let that tension sit there.
Right. This was the gift we gave everybody at the party.
Is there writing?
It's
oh my God.
a pate dish that says "woof" on it. No animals were harmed during the filming of the movie. The cat loved to
I
ride.
think it was before they put that on movies.
They didn't do that. Yeah, right. This is like, the other thing we shot in order.
Yes.
Most of the movie
Yes.
was shot in
Yes.
order, and it's so great to do that. It's a luxury, to just shoot like the movie without.
Well, it's a
going
necessity that people call luxury, what's amazing is how far it goes and how accurate it is. People go insane when they get divorced. That part's true. I mean, this is the horror story people live.
I'll give you the chandelier.
I remember when I looked at the foyer, I goes, my God, it's a regular size foyer. We built up 35 feet up into the stage so that we could hang the chandelier higher.
You were so happy planning your last shot. I mean,
Oh, God, I loved it. I remember shooting this scene in the morning over here at the Fox lot. We built the attic, and I got to work really early that morning to plan it all out with the DP. And they hadn't even gotten on the set yet. It was like around 9:30 or 10 in the morning. And I said, oh, my God. I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. So I said to everybody, before anybody got there, I said to my assistant, put me in the car right now. I got in the car right out here, and I called my doctor. I said, meet me at Cedars. The whole crew, nobody knew anything.
Will you hold the movie for a second?
So I get in the car, and I'm like, because I'm all this is happening, it's all like, and I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. I'm breathing like really fast. He said, wait, talk. What do you mean you're having a heart attack? He said, you got a pain? I said, no, but I can't stop, and I'm going on and on and on. And he says to me, how many cups of coffee have you had today? And I say to my assistant, who's crazy driving now because he thinks I'm dying. I said, how many cups of coffee have you had? He goes, 4 espressos, doubles. And Kipper hears it on the thing, on the phone. He says, turn around and go lay down in your dressing room. So I spun around and went back.
As we were doing this.
We were setting up for this shot. I was in the car at the front lot. But I didn't have a heart attack, obviously. So I went back and I laid down for a minute.
You didn't want it to end, man. I mean, this is famous stuff.
Remember the gymnast we cast?
Yeah.
For her? And the gymnast was a really sweet girl. She was very attractive and really gorgeous. And that's the gymnast, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we were doing the sequence, and the crew was like totally lusting after this girl. She was so adorable. And that's Kathleen, by the way, right there, hanging upside down. She did a lot of her own stuff here, like this stuff.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
This is my notebook from the movie. This I have, I kept all of my stuff. It's just all thrown together. But this is every shot in the movie that I wrote, which I write all the shots. And they're all on like pieces of paper that have fallen apart. There's plans of like how to shoot The Office and all that kind of stuff. And here are some storyboards that are really cool. It's us, chasing them up and down the stairs. This is her breaking through and going on the chandelier, doing the tumble to the chandelier. Because this is a sequence I really wanted to, map out.
How close it came to him.
So I wanted to make sure I had everything all mapped out. There's the terrazzo floor. There's Gavin, and that's the shot through the window because we didn't have that shot. We didn't have that physical. We had to make a window. So
those cutaways between you and the
Gavin
the maid were so desperately needed in that scene.
Yes.
I mean, because you were riding the edge anyway.
See here.
So, I'm sorry. Can you find the stage direction for when she takes his hand off? I want to see if it's in this.
When she takes.
When
the end.
Yeah.
Barbara looks at the bolt that's free of the ceiling. Chandelier heads for the floor with his 2 passengers. Another angle. Chandelier hits the quarry tiles, explodes with the shards. Glittering crystals set on Jonathan and Barbara, sticking their bodies. Jonathan and Barbara lie motionless, their bodies sparkle in the light Very long moment passes. Jonathan, with his last vestige of life, opens his eyes, reaches out his hand, and places it gently on Barbara's shoulder. He smiles. His eyes close. Dead. A long moment passes. Then Barbara opens her eyes, slowly, with great effort, places her hand atop Jonathan's. A moment. Then with her last breath, with her last vestige of strength, she throws his hand off her shoulder. She now smiles. Her eyes close. She doesn't move. Ever again. Jonathan and Barbara lie as close as is possible without touching. Both are smiling, pleased with themselves. Well, he dies thinking that he put his hand on her shoulder and got her back. And she dies knowing that she pushed her hand off. And then Gavin is outside. We're coming. And that's it.
Great, man.
There's something that was cut out. Gavin lights a cigarette. I used to believe you get your mental stimulation from your work and your physical stimulation from women. I don't believe in mixing the two. There's no ring on this finger. But then, as my old man used to say, one monkey is no monkeys. I don't know. I might still get married. This was before we married Gavin off. Like we had that in the
This is the most unusual way of doing deleted scenes
you've ever seen in your life. Right.
What's the last stage direction?
He puts a cigarette on top of the plexiglass case and exits, which we wound up not doing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, but it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Why did I cut it out? I don't know. It's a good idea. It's an anti-smoking idea. In the test screenings, women, mainly women, but a lot of men too, walked out of there going, this is terrible. What are you doing here?
Well, I think my dream for this movie was always that women and men would laugh at different times and get a dirty look when each one of them did.
I got a feeling like we succeeded because there were women who went up in arms about.
No, it's there was some rough ride homes from the theater, I think, off this movie.
Nothing like a pro-marriage movie, man.
Yeah, that's it.
This is such a singular movie, Danny. This is just nothing like it. From my perspective, I mean, I just had the easiest job in the world.
We just had a ball doing it.
But you never went crazy. You were always having a good time. You always knew everything. It was just...
I had a ball
and
doing
it's so perfect.
That was the other thing. Like I always say, I've done lots of movies, but I tell you, the one that I had the most freedom and most enjoyable time was this, because I had you behind me, always with me, next to me. Forget about it. I always felt like comfortable that I could say, I could call you and say, look, I need
my presence hasn't helped me that much.
No, but that's the way it goes,
Yes,
sometimes.
Yes.